So welcome to Unscripted. The idea of Unscripted is basically to keep it very raw, very real. And I think we're having a very raw and real experience with tech right now. So,
Yeah,
how about
everything authentic.
yeah, exactly. And I think the idea is to be able to have a conversation any which way, despite the fact that sometimes there are life's ups and downs, right, that we call it, no?
Yeah,
You just have to be able to take everything into your stride. So welcome,
absolutely.
Shalini.
Thank you
Yeah,
so much. Thank you,
you're
Ethel.
welcome. You're welcome. Welcome to Unscripted on a Thursday evening. I have some tea kept ready with me because, to sip in as we have this conversation. And let's jump straight into it.
Right,
You good?
right. Yeah.
Okay. So, as I said, the idea of Unscripted is to have a real, raw conversation. So, I would like you to also be real and raw as much as possible,
Right.
in the space that you are in. I want to understand from you what what inspired you to embark on this journey of empowerment and mental wellness advocacy. In other words, why the Mind Valley Life Coach, jump?
All right. Now, taking it right back to my childhood, as I've always said, that, that is where the seeds of our, knowing doubts are there. And the experiences, the most deep experiences happen in our childhood, in our teenage years. They stay with us. As a child, I used to observe this particular thing, and I would call it an endemic thing with the individuals that they go about life as if life is one miserable, imposition and misery inflicted on them. There's no zest, there's no zeal for life.
Yes,
And
correct. Yeah.
I saw this complete contrast in my mother. I mean, I would see individuals, unhappy individuals, living and wallowing in misery, not doing anything about it. And my mother continuously moving from one thing to another, the saddest, the happiest, just with that joy, that thrill of finding and discovering something. So I grew up with that, but that thing was finally kind of sealed, sedimented, and cemented in the pandemic.
Okay.
Where there was a lot of internal turmoil and there's a lot of questioning within oneself as an individual.
Okay.
And we were trying to find more and more meaning and trying to, hold on to people and things that mattered and also going forward in life. So that was what put me onto that journey. And I'm very grateful that I, kind of discovered that coaching thing, which was helpful to me in the initial phase. And then I wanted to kind of align it with somebody else's journey to kind of help, others also along the way. It helped me greatly in terms of, emerging from any kind of hiatus, any kind of questioning, any doubts. Right? The clarity was phenomenal after this and moving forward in life.
Yeah. I think that COVID time was in a way stressful. A lot of people also felt liberated, and in my own experience too, right? I think that was my greatest liberation timeline, actually, to kind of suddenly kind of wake up to yourself, to embracing everything about yourself, Shalini.
Because we were holding on, very, very, life had become very fragile that time.
Yeah.
And we were kind of holding on, and that gave more meaning to.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, I think it kind of uh, I think a certain percentage of the population also was so frightened, right? There was so much of fear all around,
Yes.
and a lot of people's, I think, a lot of, I think it set like a timeline for transformation,
Yeah.
or transformative energy.
You use the
Like I say,
beautiful word, transformation of energy. Yes.
some people jumped right into it and discovered their wings and flew, and some just went back into not just caterpillar mode but death mode, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, it's I mean, life is a process that you just kind of embrace, everything, and just kind of keep keep at it, keep moving. It's movement.
Yeah.
That stagnation is kind of harrowing, it kind of debilitating.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Any kind of
Any,
stagnation.
any was there any kind of defining moment in your life that changed the way you viewed or you view wellness and self mastery? Any defining moment in your life?
Ah, well, there are plenty. I mean, there are plenty that
Let's
shape.
look at one.
But just looking at one moment, that would be, this uh, rejection at,
Yeah,
Pine
yeah.
Valley as a speaker. And then it got me started on this thing, of probing myself deeper and
Hmm.
deeper, going into my layers and saying, hey, can I have a tangible proof that I'm phenomenal? I'm exponential as a person. And can I use that primal power of exponential growth?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I sat down with that discipline, and I just churned out like 14 books in less than a year. Like, there was
Yes, I
so
know.
much brewing inside because of that particular thing that came my way. And I'm very grateful. I mean, in hindsight, I'm very grateful for that, thing that stalled me in
Yeah.
my tracks. Hey, you're not there yet. You're not ready. So I saw it as, you are not there yet. You are
Mm-mm-mm.
wonderful,
Yeah.
but you're not there yet. And that there yet thing had to be fulfilled, through that writing, because that comes effortlessly.
Yeah. Rejection is a very powerful catalyst, right?
Yes.
Depending on your mindset, no? Depending on your mindset, your attitude to life, how you look at it. I guess it's also to figure out what truly motivates you and just, and makes you relentless. Oh my God.
Relentless. Just
Yeah,
relentless.
I love that word. A
That's
lot of people in my profession call me, Ethel is relentless. I said, yeah, yeah, you have to be relentless because
relentless. Yeah.
that is how you forge your own path,
Yeah.
right?
Right. Exactly. I mean, these are handwritten books. I mean, nowhere in the world you can find, such poetry books written in less than a year, and with such mastery. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would
So
say
people
there's.
wrote poetry, people made home movies, people went into baking, baking cakes
Yeah,
and that. Oh my God, there's a whole lot of stuff that happened during
phenomenal
the pandemic.
creativity,
Yeah.
phenomenal. I mean, every individual has got that thing to tap into, that primal genius, as is said always. We
Correct.
kind of lose that. We chip away at that when we are not tapping into it enough.
Yes, yeah, I completely agree. I think especially I see that in today's generation, if you know what I'm saying. I feel, and I'm saying this from conviction. I think the Gen X population was the most resilient population. I think after the cavemen discovered fire.
Yeah, you're so right. You're so right. Because we kind of, got sandwiched between the parents and the children,
Yeah,
and kind of listening to both sides and balancing those sides. And we juggled more than, the present generation actually is. Of course, they have their own complexities, not to,
correct.
undermine
Yeah,
their stuff. They are doing a whole lot. Like my 14-year-old, 15-year-old daughter says that, you know, uh, she has this sorted. If you are on time, you're late in life.
Mm.
So,
Yeah.
so that kind of philosophy to have at 15, you kind of, so distracted and so
Mm.
sorted. It's just very heartening to see that they're using their power. The young generation is using their power nowadays very effectively.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, I I guess each generation or each decade would have its own challenges and things to celebrate and things to also work on.
Yeah.
Like, for example, technology now, right? I mean, you cannot uh, you cannot imagine life without tech, especially as entrepreneurs.
Right.
And I've always had a resistance to tech to a certain extent, and now I look at it. The tech has enhanced, work for me and enhanced
And
to kind of add on more elements to my work, almost cloning another one. The two of us would be too hard to handle or too much to handle.
no, even I'm adapting, you see. I mean,
Yes.
you
Yeah.
suggested, okay, I'll be on social media and, enhance the presence there. So
Correct.
I'm adapting, learning the ropes, the tropes.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Shalini, how would you describe your life philosophy in 3 words? Just three
Just three
words.
words. Keep
Just
your
3 words.
promises.
Keep your promises. Okay. Oh, that is nice. That is 3 words in one sentences. So all our friends who have joined us here, uh, you heard Shalini's mantra, which says, "Keep your promises." I think it is so character building, isn't it?
Yes.
When we vow to ourselves to keep the promises that we make to ourselves,
And
right?
it's
Um,
just those micro moments when you are talking to yourself in a way that when motivation is not there, then discipline kicks in. So when we
yes.
train ourselves, and it's like in peaceful times we are constantly training ourselves like a warrior. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'll give an example, like on the most challenging days, as a family, as a mother, as a wife, as a entrepreneur, on the most difficult days, I will try the most time consuming recipe in the morning, and
Oh,
that has
okay.
been
Okay.
my thing, because I tell myself that then that is the time when I will not give up on cooking,
Hmm.
because something will come up from
Hmm.
somewhere. You see, that's how, like in the peaceful times, I mean, not so challenging, not the emergency times, but in peaceful
Correct.
times, I do
Correct.
challenge that. So that also is gritty. Just a simple example, but that makes us more gritty and attuned to reality.
Correct. There is someone here called Lost in Between Strings. The ID is Lost in Between Strings. Says hi, Shalini.
Hi. may,
Lost in
may,
Between Strings.
Sorry, may I have your name, please?
It's the handle is Lost in Between Strings.
Yes, I'm familiar with this handle, but I need the person's name. So, any name that person is sharing?
No, no. So we will request Lost in Between Strings to type in the comment section with your name, please. Shalini wants to know your name. And to everyone else, there is, let me read some handles which are here. Poetry Spot. There is turquoise.poetry, who has also joined in. Let me see who else. As I'm scrolling up and down, there's Stevie at Artistry, who has joined in. There's Masaki, who has joined in. There's Sonam, who has joined in.
Lost
Yeah,
Between Strings is Jeff. Okay.
yeah. This is
So,
looking
is
good.
Jeff asking something?
No, no, Jeff. Jeff, you can type in your question if you have for Shalini, and we will have Shalini, answer it. That'll be great because we're very interested to kind of see, what kind of nuggets of wisdom Shalini will share with us on this edition of Unscripted. Shalini, what is the best piece of advice you've ever received, and what's the worst?
All right. Um, I think the best piece of advice I've got from my mother, and it has served me very well in
Okay.
most challenging situations, is keep cool and you command everybody.
Oh, keep cool when you command everybody.
And you command everybody. Keep
Ah,
cool and so
okay.
don't ever lose yourself no matter what the situation. It is again another exercise in character building. We are not doing it so much for the person in question,
Mhm.
like the person who may be railing against us, or the person who is unhappy is also unhappy with himself or herself,
Right.
maybe.
Yes.
But it is nothing personal. But it is like you are uh, learning control, you're
Hmm.
learning emotional metabolism, you are chewing and then digesting a big emotion at that time.
Okay.
And it is important for adults to chew and digest in the moment a big emotion.
Right, yeah. I like what you said because I think that also, I found that also in one of these books, right? I think some 40 ways to be powerful or something of that sort is to not take things
Yeah,
personally because, and when you're in a very public space, right, or a very public profile, you'll always have, people always have an opinion, right,
yeah,
about
exactly.
anything and
And you
everything.
are in a public place where people will say things, yes, unless they are offensive. And then even if they are offensive, there is a way to kind of diffuse it, or to explain, or to not explain. If you choose not to explain, it's fine. But if you choose to explain, everything has to be done with a certain dignity. I believe in that.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, it's a certain dignity and a certain grace also, I feel.
Certain grace, yes.
Yeah. And
Yes.
then at some point of time, especially if you've been as long as I have been in this field, you just learn to ignore and say, okay, thank you very much. Next.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, ignoring is the best because that's for your peace of mind. Again, we are not doing it as a favor to anybody. Yes, it is a small favor to them because we are not increasing or enhancing their anger by
Correct.
saying something. We are not fueling their anger, but at the same time, we are keeping our peace. So there is a certain boundary which can be created with silence, with dignity, with grace.
Yes, correct. Okay, so we have a question from Lost in Between Strings, Jeff. Okay, so Jeff says, can you suggest 3 books as a must read? The question from Jeff.
All right.
Can you suggest 3 books that you would suggest, 3 books that you would suggest as a must read?
Hi, Jeff. Thank you for asking. As a maverick, I would suggest that the best place to visit first is your childhood.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
that is the most profound book you'll ever read. We often are, not wanting to visit for certain reasons, not wanting, we may not feel comfortable visiting our childhood, or we may feel comfortable, I do not know. But as a person who advocates self coaching and self love, the best place to start is your childhood. You'll find the most wondrous moment, the happiest moment, and also moments that helped you learn something. Beautiful.
Hmm. Yeah, I think our childhood, like I'm glad you mentioned that because in therapy as well, because like I mentioned, I shared with you in my own journey of being coached, right? The first step that my life coach took with me was to take me straight back to my childhood. Oh my God! And she said everything begins, and the unspooling will have to begin from
From
there because
there.
yeah, from there. But there is no shortcut, and there is no band-aid solution. And
Yeah.
yeah, and
Beautiful.
if we need to be brave enough and courageous enough of wanting really to be our best version, that step or that jump has to be taken straight, not in the future but in the past.
In the past,
Yeah.
the archive past, and that
Yes.
is the place where it is useful and it has a lot of strength. Because
Yeah.
you've come
Correct.
this far, Jeff, it obviously has those elements of beauty,
Yes.
right,
Yeah.
and strength, and you draw from that, and you see what you like doing most in your childhood, and
Mm.
what you were
True.
judged for, and both become superpowers. The things you
Yeah.
were complimented for, and the things you had joy in doing, and the things people judged you for, they both become
Correct.
superpowers.
Yeah. I had these two books, Shalini, when I was, I think, in college, because I started my school life very early. I had double promotions
Oh, wow.
that
That's
happened
so
in, yeah,
cute.
coming from the Middle East, So I finished my
You're a
10th grade.
firebrand, right from the beginning, firebrand.
I, I swear. So I finished up my 10th grade when I was 12 years old. And I couldn't get into my 11th standard because they said I was too young to join. So I had to take, yeah, I had to take a year drop. So I went back to Kuwait, and then I refused to come back. And then my mom flew and then kind of dragged me back to India, saying, no, 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 you have to now come and get into college. I, yeah, I remember when I was, so in that timeline, these two books became life changers for me in college. One was Conversations with God, and Jonathan Livingston Seagull. Oh my God. At that time, no, I think self-help books were looked upon as like, oh my God, there's something wrong with her, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? But I was so deeply drawn to material of that sort. I remember there was no book in my library in Carmel College that I had not read on horror and on self-help. Yeah. But see, it kind of, I think
Yeah.
these are all, defining steps of life that we unknowingly writing for ourselves, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Absolutely, absolutely lovely. I mean, you shared all that. I mean, I did not know this facet, this
Yeah.
brilliant facet of your life. Yeah.
What's been your worst piece of advice, Shalini?
Well, it was not worth remembering, I think.
That's a
So,
good one.
and applying. So it's yeah.
That is
It
a damn good one.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's like just do it. So I mean, I find it puzzling, and especially for individuals who are struggling to you know uh, move out of the past or move out of the future thinking. It is very difficult. Just do it. It's not so simple. It's like one size fits all kind of thing people try to
Hmm.
do,
Correct.
and it's not so effective as things for everyone. Like you have to meet a person where they are at this moment in time.
Yes. Yes. And I think also in love relationships, I'm so glad you mentioned that. People meet you as much as no, let me say this correctly. People meet you as much as they
Met
have met themselves.
themselves. Yes, 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 yes.
And
Yes.
I found that mind opening. It was like some mask, not a mask, that's the wrong word. Some sort of like a horse blind that I was wearing actually was blown open with that. People meet you as deeply as they have met themselves. Yeah, and therefore, a certain kind of realism or shallow sense or depth or lack of it will come from that place.
Right.
Amazing, isn't it? Yeah,
Right.
I found that
I mean,
completely amazing.
certain things just hit. Like some of the poetry also I read, just kind of, okay, it jolts you
Mm.
into a new, hemisphere, so to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then and that kind of opens up suddenly, like this what I would call it, a flashlight
Flash.
moment, if that's the right word also. Like suddenly at 3 o'clock in the morning, I would wake up and say, "Oh my God, this makes absolute sense to me now." Suddenly, like everything is silent and stuff like that, and then to understand the experiences of your life with a certain kind of wisdom and perspective, saying, "Oh, now I know why a certain X Y Z, behaved like this or said something like that, and this is probably the space." And then I think you learn more compassion and forgiveness,
Right.
Isn't that right? Yeah.
Right. Of course. I mean,
Yeah.
that judgment part keeps, eroding over the understandings.
And also, I think a sense of release to kind of just let go,
Yeah,
let go and stuff like that.
let go is a very peaceful thing. There's also,
To our friends who have joined in, Shalini,
yeah,
to our friends who have joined
yes.
in, uh, what can you recommend something, in terms of uh, how to start making small changes in their life? What is the one thing that they can do today to
So,
make small changes in their life?
okay, so the first thing that we can start with is a smile and positive language. The way we speak to ourselves.
Mm.
So that
Sorry?
emphasis on self-talk.
Mm.
The
Okay.
self-talk leads to self-coaching. So those words have to have the strength, have the charisma, and those words will transport you into your new reality. And those
Okay.
words have to be quickly backed up by an action,
Right.
however small.
Wow.
Otherwise, hope gets extinguished soon.
Yes. So what you're saying is that be consciously mindful of how we speak to ourselves
And how
and
we back it up with
action,
quick action,
with
quick
quick action. Wow.
doable thing in the moment. It's not something far in the future, right here, right now, what I can do to micro change my life.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. I hope to all our friends who are online with us that this particular advice, it's so simple actually, but also takes a lot of courage and strength, to get into a space of how to, I think, to kind of watch our own conversations with ourselves, right, Shalini?
Right.
Mm.
Of course. And we, on a daily basis, try to eliminate criticism and judgment and gossip. And then that part gets
Hmm.
removed. Then you have only your own thing to do. Do your thing. And
Yes.
everything else falls in place. I have seen that. I have experimented that when I keep a positive language and I smile at others and I don't try to fix others. That is also another big thing. We we
Hmm.
we don't set our expectations for others because they have their own journey.
Correct.
So
Correct.
we try to find a way to be happy, to be purposeful.
Yeah. Yeah, like maybe this could be a little kind of deep thinking. I think once we understand that each one of us, each individual born on this planet is born to find his or her own mission, his or her own
Yes,
mission,
yes.
own
And
purpose.
there is always that one thing you are so good at that nobody else in the universe can do it the way you do it. That
Yeah.
confidence.
Yeah, I, I guess that would come from a space of uh, how do you call it, making like maybe earning your living or making your time on this planet count, in that kind of
Yes,
sense,
yes,
from a very external, material sort of a way. But the inner journey is equally as important as the external, experience as well, isn't it?
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And all that we are looking forward to in from the world, we have have it inside of us. All the happiness, all the success is just, all the seeds are there. Just they have to kind of sprout with
Yes.
your efforts. That's all.
Yeah. Correct. I agree. I completely agree with that. Which takes me to my next question, which is like a quick fire. Okay, Shalini, you ready for
Okay.
it?
Yeah,
Yeah, quick
yeah.
fire. Yeah. Before we get into how do you call it, getting too deep into it, I love deep conversations. You know that by
Yeah,
now, and I
me
can,
too.
yeah,
Me too. I
yeah,
agree.
and I can talk till the sun comes up or the clouds move, that kind of thing. Um, what is your go-to comfort food? Quick fire.
Dal and rice.
Dal and
Dal and
rice.
rice,
Great.
curry chawal. I mean, Sindhi curry and rice. That's it.
Oh my gosh, great. Mine is a banana leaf. That's it.
Yes. I mean, yes, that is also dal and rice in a way. With fish.
Right. With the fish,
Just
correct.
simple, food, home cooked food. Yeah.
Which is your favorite book?
Mm, uh, my book, The Song of Dreams. Poetry
Your
book.
own book.
Yeah.
Your own book.
And my
Okay.
own favorite. Yeah, at the moment, yes.
Yeah.
So I like that.
Awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. We have to all be our own favorites. Which is your most liked television show?
Most like, I like all the lawyer series, I think.
Okay.
The Lincoln Lawyer and Judging Amy.
Huh.
Very, very powerful role of a woman lawyer,
Yeah.
solicitor.
Yes.
They all
Okay.
space, but very, very powerful and very cerebral conversations, and staccato
Yeah.
conversations. So I enjoy those things, and I also enjoy Kapil Sharma show.
I think you mentioned that to me. You mentioned that to me. I think mine is the X-Files. Oh my gosh. Yeah. The X-Files with Mulder and Scully. I think I kind of, one part of me is completely head in the clouds. I believe in aliens. I believe in a whole lot of, yeah, that the planet has seen so much in terms of very superior, intelligent, life forms that have lived here, been here, created so much of, whatever that has been left behind, including some part of it created the human species too. But that's another different conversation. Let me not get too deep into it.
Any more comments or something we can take up?
Okay, let me just see who it is. So Jeff is saying from Lost in Between Strings, he says juvenile justice is also good if you love that genre. Okay, Shalini, you should check out this show called Juvenile Justice.
Sure. I will
because
do that. I will do that. Thanks, Jeff. Thank you so
I'm
much
sure
for recommending.
it's in that. I think it's in the legal law kind of genre of television content.
Okay.
Okay.
So when I'm traveling or something, then I'll catch up.
Yeah. You can booklist it or just keep like a bookmark to kind of maybe find it. Shalini, I want to know from you because there's a lot of work that we individually and collectively do also, which is community based.
Right.
Also for me, another platform of Empower. I want to know from you, what role does community play in fostering mental and emotional well-being?
Okay. Now, when it comes to the community part, it's quite a broad umbrella. And there would be organizations and, but starting at the smallest unit of family,
Yes.
making empowerment more local, more localized, more in control, of what individuals are doing. Because when we go out in the world, we need to see how our family is giving us that strength, how much of sweetness and how much of that clarity is there in the family environment. So that helps individuals a whole lot, because when they're going out in society, they should be fulfilled individuals. So it begins with the family. But I think the community comes I think in a later stage. I would recommend that, families do more
Hmm.
work on this
Yeah.
individually.
Interesting. And that is why I
Thank you,
guess it is
Chris.
also important, right? For how would you call it? When you do, I'm sure you also know this in terms of in therapy and in life coaching and whatever. We also kind of learn that there's so much of generational trauma that is also there, and it just sometimes it gets carried forward because of a lack of self awareness.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, in situations of that sort, I believe sometimes individuals find a voice or a sense of expression in community as well, and that's why communities need to be, I think, the focal point of societies to grow in a very healthy manner,
Mm-hmm.
because you may or may not receive support in the family unit, if
Right,
as
right. In that sense, yes, definitely, because certain challenges are there in many families. Sometimes you find that there are lots of challenges, so that those inputs need to come from an external source, and that is where, yes, I mean, some certain individuals who are doing that kind of work, and some
yeah,
organizations, they pitch
yeah,
in to, help
yeah.
individuals. Yeah.
Yeah, especially I think in terms of especially in matters of trauma,
Yeah.
addiction, correct?
Yeah,
I
sure,
think
sure. Yeah,
communities
yeah. So
play
they
a
have to be,
huge role.
because again, that the nature and nurture, the nurture part is, kind of faltering in that space big time.
Yes,
And
yes,
then there's that they have to be, necessarily pulled out,
correct.
of that environment, because that environment is not going to foster
Yeah,
any
yeah,
good thinking or any, so it's not going to be supportive in that sense.
correct. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. Like how Jeff also agrees. He dropped a comment saying that India is still alien to mental health awareness. Yeah, we are. Yeah, I agree with you, Jeff. Shalini, you have a
Yes,
comment to
yes,
that?
yes. The whole thing is that we do not want to discuss. I mean, it's a strange thing. I mean, it's just like any physical illness. Like your leg is broken, so
Yes,
you are thinking things in your mind, and your mind is overwhelmed, and your heart is overwhelmed, and you are finding yourself lost.
correct.
It's it's a thing. It's a thing to be encouraged more and more,
Yeah,
to for people to open up, to embrace. And that is where the beauty of life is, that when families embrace,
Hmm.
when
I agree.
families embrace, when individuals embrace, of course, I
Right.
mean, they may not be in a position to embrace fully, but if they are lovingly made kind of aware of what is, and this constant counseling is there, that
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. Conversation, right? Conversation around
conversations
mental
we
health.
need to
Yeah.
have, and we need to break this barrier of difficult conversation.
Yes. Yeah. Correct. And that's why, Shalini, I think from your sense of expertise as well, I feel there is so much that needs to be done even in Malaysia, because being in the field that especially the media field, we are constantly face to face, where we feel even as a community, those conversations need to be built very real and very raw and very
Yes,
authentic.
yes. And there's absolutely, I mean, it can happen to anybody. It's not like some sections of society are superior, or it doesn't happen in certain sections. Or I mean, the mental challenges, the mental well-being can happen to anybody in any phase of life.
Yes, yeah, I agree. So which also makes me, ask you this question. How do you think the concept of empowerment has evolved in recent years, especially for women? Though I must also add men now,
Yeah,
because
yeah. I mean, men and children also in that space. I
yeah,
mean, any
yeah,
individual
correct,
for that matter.
correct. Because I feel that I was just watching this beautiful podcast today, and it's making news across the globe. this conversation with Selena Gomez and Benny Blanco.
Okay.
I'm in the celebrity space, right? So it is my job to see what's really happening across the spaces.
Right.
And this conversation, the kind of conversation Benny opened up about men and emotional intelligence being so imperative today to foster healthy relationships.
Right.
I think has got him like a whole 90% of the planet, or at least 90% of the women across the planet are praising Benny, saying that's the kind of guy we want in our lives.
Nice.
Yeah, where are the emotionally intelligent men? Who forgot to teach them how to be emotionally intelligent? That kind of thing. And which brings me to the question of asking you, as a life coach as well. Have we somehow failed to empower our men to be more emotionally responsive to women? It's a complete raw question.
Yes, yes and no. The thing is that we as women, as a source of life, we get so what you call hampered in our vision of teaching good things to men. Say, for instance, a mom watches her husband do certain things, right? I mean, the wife watches her husband do certain things, telling the same thing. I mean, tolerating the things from the husband, telling the son to do differently.
Yeah.
To defeat the purpose.
Yeah.
So they have these, there is that generational pull, that tug of war.
Yeah.
The two men standing in front of her, and who to teach and how to teach. And it's already the late onset is there. I mean, especially the previous generation. I mean, I'm lucky to have a partner who kind of is very happy with my growth and is like, with my wings and all my flights, everything.
Yes.
And even if he's little bit unhappy, I wouldn't know. I mean, he's hiding it well, but it's okay. I mean, I will still go ahead and do my thing. That's what I do. So I mean, but generally speaking, it is a very complex thing to train men in emotional intelligence, because it has to start early on. It is not like some sudden bolt of lightning in their, teenage years when they start dating girls. It's not like the sudden bolt of lightning. Oh, I'm enlightened and I will start behaving well. These are engendered. The seeds are sown again in childhood and teenage years. So the complexity. So you face a husband who belongs to a different generation, and you're given birth to a man. So I mean, a boy, and they're totally
Right.
a contrast.
Okay, but I keep telling, at least the men who I know and I meet them, I say, please do therapy. Just go, get yourself sorted, get your questions answered, figure out yourself. Because there's hope. There's hope for you, But in the meantime, stop torturing us.
Yeah. No, and the thing is that women have pulled themselves out a big time, from the ruts that were there, the pathways that were created by their grandmothers and mothers, the pathways that were created. They are rebelling, and they are, blossoming on their own. They're taking it upon themselves. That's the biggest part of the empowerment thing. But at the same time, I mean, the men are trapped in a little bit of entitlement, if I may say. So I mean so if that entitlement doesn't erode, that's
I think it's also, Shalini, I feel it's also it's also culturally correct, either kind of reinforced or fostered, because
it is undercurrent is always there.
Yeah.
That he'll be, paid well in companies. He'll be looked up to as the fount of knowledge
Yes.
in the family.
Yes.
So all those things, all those stereotypes do play out, and then it becomes that challenge.
We see that. I've seen plenty of that in my corporate life as well. Yeah, correct.
You would have encountered.
Jeff has a question. Jeff of Lost in Between Strings has a question.
Yes.
Shalini, he says, and I think he's very vocal. I like this. See, I think we have two very vocal men on our chat.
No,
I
really like that.
I love it too. Because
for your participation, Jeff.
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Dropping in comments, encouraging the two of us, saying, "Oh, we have two beautiful princesses online talking about love."
I'm not visible.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So we have a question from Jeff. Jeff is asking you, what is the thin line between confidence and narcissistic behavior? He says, I have mostly seen it, I've mostly seen controlling behavior in men, then being emotionally available. Jeff, before Shalini answers that, let me thank you for that question.
Thank you. It's a very, very deep question. I will attempt to answer it. Between confidence and being narcissistic, now, when we are confident, we radiate a different energy, which other people pick up in a positive way. People also like that energy. But when we go into that territory of being narcissistic, we are only looking at ourselves, and it's obvious to others around us what we are about to do, and it is definitely going to be hurtful in essence. The spirit of narcissism is to hurt, to not acknowledge. Confidence acknowledges the presence of others also. Narcissism will not acknowledge the presence of others.
Yeah. Gosh, that's a very oh my gosh, that's very scary, Shalini.
Yeah. So
because
I think that's how you will know that you are going into a dangerous territory, and then you pull back from the edge. Even if you've gone to the edge, doesn't matter. It's a human emotion to think a lot about oneself, and it's fine. But you will have signals which will tell you that you've done a bit too much of yourself, and you are kind of trying to eclipse others in a hurtful way, and that and that will prompt you. So if you are a very perceptive individual, you will know.
I think especially true in dating relationships as well. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Ethel has a wealth of experience.
Yeah, because as I say, I'm in a very unique, the universe has placed me in a very unique kind of a workspace, right? Where you're constantly, dealing with all kinds of people professionally. I try to keep my personal space very, how would I call it? Very
guarded.
As much as I can. Very guarded.
Yeah.
Very discerning and very disciplined, in that sense.
Right.
Because I already have so much of baggage to deal with in the outside, especially in the space of lifestyle and fashion and celebrity. There are all kinds of creatures, Shalini, that you're navigating.
You bet, yeah.
You kind of keep yourself, safe at the same time too. So, yeah, I know those signals.
You're doing an awesome job of just keeping your light on. I mean, light on in the sense you're bright, your radiance, this thing, you're exuding everywhere, and just kind of warding off whatever needs to be warded off, and keep that space clean.
Yes, thank you, Shalini. Thank you. I think that comes from a lot of self-discipline.
Yeah,
because self-discipline, higher the self-discipline, higher is your success.
It's directly
I tell everyone that there are no shortcuts to being successful. Whatever. just a certain level of self-discipline that you have to master for a higher level of success. That is it.
Discipline is the greatest respect
Yeah.
a person can show oneself.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. Wow. I really like the kind of conversation, like I said, unscripted is all off script, you know. It
It's
is
the best
all,
thing, I think.
yeah, I think it is all about being raw, about being real. I think, as a journalist too, because that is who I am first and foremost, uh, you understand that real and raw is what will drive deeper connections in life, and because you are who you are and you do what you are doing, Shalini, as a professional as well. We are constantly looking to inspire a sense of authenticity,
Right.
24/7, correct?
Right.
Not just
Absolutely.
just not for the cameras. It's
Right.
24/7.
24/7. Yes.
Yeah,
How we live off the
yeah,
cameras, what comes up,
how you live,
and
how you
it
live.
contributes towards the unscripted, because the scripting is happening in the actions behind.
Yeah, there's already enough of scripted lives and
Right.
drama I see on a day-to-day basis, intervention and the things that we do professionally. But to your constant sieving and discernment, right?
Yeah.
We're always looking to see, authentic people will have the strength to tell authentic stories, even if in the face of pain and suffering and struggle.
Yeah.
Because
We just find something good and meaningful in the most trying situations, because
yes,
somehow we have to move to another day
correct.
with it, with or
Yeah.
without it.
Yes, I know. Shalini, you have some interesting comments happening. Someone who's here on live with us wants to know: are you a model, Shalini?
No, I'm not. I'm not a professional model, but yes, I would.
Shalini is a model individual.
Yes, maybe a
Awesome.
model life coach.
Yeah, because I think like how we're constantly talking about raw and real and resilient building storytelling, correct?
Right.
Through sustained example, not just for the camera. I think what we're looking at is to truly continue to inspire people through our own strengths and weaknesses, because that is what human life is about, right?
Yes, I mean, this is one thing very, very powerful in our lives, that to own every strand of a story,
Yeah,
every nanoparticle, because once we come into that space of full ownership,
correct.
this happened in my life, and I'm always making it better each day. I mean, those just kind of free up so much space in our
Yes,
beings.
yes,
It just gives us wings. It just like, it readies us for that flight.
yeah,
That
correct.
ownership, that yes, good, bad, ugly, whatever parts were there, whatever parts are now, I own them. I'm working towards them, and I
Yeah,
am also getting better.
correct. Jeff, thank you for this lovely comment of yours. I'm so happy that you have been inspired today. Thank you. I
Thank you.
tried to do,
Thank you,
yeah,
Dia. Thank you
yeah,
so much.
some
Really
really
appreciate your
insightful
time.
questions, lovely participation also for
Lovely.
him, and he's full of compliments too. Thank you. Uh, yeah. So Shalini, tech glitch or not, I think we've managed to have such a beautiful conversation uh, online, because I can see people, I can see friends and fans and colleagues and acquaintances, new and old, constantly joining in till now. I think the purpose of even having this platform is to kind of encouraging more and more people to be themselves, to be their true selves,
Right.
without the fear of even if you are judged, so what?
Yeah. I mean, I just there are 8 billion lanes and everybody walking in their lane and everybody has the capacity to be glorious. I mean, we are glorious. The first presumption is that we were actually born with all that abundance. We just
Correct.
somehow chipped away at it in the process of living. So,
Correct. And conditioning.
And we can always, like, you know, go back to that primal nature of childhood and have
Yes.
that same wonder, have that same curiosity, build our days around curiosity and, you know, positivity, and just, it's just beautiful. Life has so much to offer.
Yeah, correct. Shalini, as we conclude Unscripted, is there something that you can leave our audiences with to put into practice, say over the weekend, as a self-care and a self-love action?
Whatever you have been thinking of doing for the past 6 months or 1 year or maybe the last 10 years, please get started, and please don't try to be perfect. There is no such thing.
Yes.
Just get started on it and love it. Do it very lovingly.
Yeah.
You will see the magic. You will see the magic.
You know, I completely agree with this, and let me also kind of add this in my own journey of self-discovery with my life coach. I think that is the first thing I threw out of the window of trying to be perfect, of trying to be a perfectionist. It brought me so much grief and suffering. Oh my God! Yeah. You know, to understand that each and every single day is just as one step towards progress. That is it.
Yeah.
And I should be focused on progress and not
Progress
perfection.
is always better than perfection.
Yeah.
I mean, writing a page is always better than thinking about the best lines.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So I don't know about what our audience is planning to do over the weekend as a self-care and a self-love action. Mine would be to clean my closet. Yeah, because I've been putting it off for some time now. You know, I think I'm going to just commit myself to doing that because I have a lot of new additions to add and make space in my closet.
I'll tinker a bit with the media. The tech.
Yeah, correct. Thank you, Shalini. This has been such an awesome edition of Unscripted live on Instagram at the Geek Media. Yeah. Guys, please follow the handle. Please follow Geek Media, and please follow Shalini's handle. Send us love, send us your encouragement, and we will reciprocate the energy in the same measure, if not more, because I think life and love is give and take, right, Shalini?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that is how we grow and thrive even as individuals. So thank you to each one of you who got onto Instagram Live. Technical glitch, whether there or not there, no problem. We've had this awesome conversation, and I am the better person for it, for the nuggets of wisdom that Shalini has shared, and for our audience also throwing in such lovely questions, and participating with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you once again, Geek Media and Ethel, the one and only Ethel. Thank you.
Thank you. See you, Shalini, on the other side, and take care, everyone.
Yeah.
And love to each one of you. Thank you.
Bye, you too. Bye. Take care. Take care, everyone. Bye.